welcome everyone. I've never done this before, so it's the first time for this. He just left the room, but I want to thank DA Tim Cruz for making this all possible. Barbara Faraday. Thank you to Jen Canwell for actually putting this presentation together. I just have to hit the button, so it made it nice and easy. So luckily we have a wealth of experiences and knowledge in here, so I'm going to do minimal talking, and I'll let all the other officers here with their dogs tell their story. We all did it a completely different way. So there's no right way to do it other than, we'll talk about like policies and stuff, but do it the way that works for your community. Do it the way that it fits your community, like the resources you have available, the money you have available, and then just find what's right for you. Find the dog that's right for you. Every dog is different and wonderful, and I can tell you, we'll speak about our own experiences. It's a huge game changer. I've been an SRO for 10 years in Hingham. By the way, I'm Tom Ford from Hingham Police. I've been there for 10 years. This is my first full year with Opry. This is the best year I've ever had by far. Just the communication, the relationship building, the experiences with the kid, it changed the whole game, and I know the other officers can attest on that. Officer Harrington from Hanson was supposed to be here today, but duty called. He had a tragedy in his community with the loss of a student, and they're doing the work right now. So he wishes he could be here, but he couldn't. So Opry and I were the pilot program. I'm sorry for starting this whole thing, but I asked, and I did not, this was not my idea. It was actually, they were already doing it in Norfolk County, I believe. I know Tommy Hart from Walpole, and then I know Officer Harmarker from Weymouth. There's a few officers that were already doing this. There was a DA grant through Norfolk's DA's office, and they were just praising how well it was working. So I went to Barbara and said, do you have any money? and so we got a $5,000 grant, and she said, okay, no pressure. We'll see how it goes. And we were in a situation we had to make the money stretch, and so we actually still have a little bit of the DA money left. That's how much we've really pinched our pennies. But it's been really great. So the questions might be, all right, so if you apply for a grant, do you want to add on that, or do you want?
Sure. I mean, the way that we organized it, Tom kind of like broke the ice, and he kind of did it in an unconventional way. Kevin's going to talk about a more conventional way that the other departments do. But what we were able to offer is the district attorney's office gets an MDAA fund, diversion fund, which we split with all the other DAs, and it comes out that we get like $45,000 that we get to spend. We have to put half of that into the community for like community coalitions, but I've been able to take half of that and put it towards the comfort dogs. So what we like to do is do like 5 comfort dogs a year. We've kind of allocated that for it. So the way that it worked out where Tom was first, I was able to take like a list of other people and put them at the top of the list. So funding comes in probably the end of March, beginning of April. So if you're interested, just contact me at the DA's office. And Jen has my email address up there after that. But everybody knows who I am over there, so you can find me. And I'll put you at the top of the list, and we'll dole out the money as soon as we see fit. I've been talking to Tim, and we've been looking into whether or not we can use some of our forfeited funds, because a lot of the police departments understand what the forfeited funds are. We get half of it, you guys get half of it. I'm looking to see if that's something that we can utilize for this program as well. So our goal is to get a dog in every community with a $5,000 grant. And what we're hoping, if we can use the money, is that every year do like a supplemental $1,000 towards the program to keep it going. One thing that we do have in Plymouth County that a lot of the other counties don't have is a great collaboration with the police chiefs, the SROs. We do a Plymouth County Drug Education Summer Program, and yes, I'm going to plug it. It's called Deer Camp, and we would love to have, we have 23 out of the 27 towns participating, and next year we hope to grow that a little bit more. But one thing that the benefit of that is that the police chiefs and the SROs talk. So this was a perfect fit to do a Plymouth County Comfort Dog program because we already had the network in place. So what we actually are able to do is offer a countywide program as well as an individual town program to help the officers get the training, volunteer hours, and it's just a great way for them to network, to ask questions, bounce things off each other. So that's all I really have to add. I'll give it back to you.
Great, that was excellent. Yeah. So why fund dogs to police department? So what you're going to want to see, what the DA's office is going to want to see, that you already have, like, you want to have certain policies in place. You want to make sure, like, I know with our department, we already had a canine we already have a canine program, so there's already like an umbrella insurance policy. They're gonna wanna make sure you have that. And I know one of the stipulations with the funding is you have to use it for the purchase of the dog, training the dog, care, so all related to the dog. So you have to kind of specify what the funding's gonna be for, which is pretty basic. But the big thing is, I can tell you, is before you start any of this, get approval from your chief, which I did, thank you, Chief. Chief Jones from Hingham. And then the other little hurdle, and today, and we do another presentation at the Mass Juvenile Police Conference, and they had me, and I'm gonna stay positive today, but we hit some hurdles in Hingham. Our school committee didn't want it at first. They were actually very against it. And so I didn't realize that at first, so that would have been much better if I waited for their approval. I went like backwards. I got a dog and then I started asking for permission.
However, you broke the ice and it was able for us to expand it.
No, it worked out great.
Yes.
But I'm glad that I can tell you now, like you can go through me and be like, all right, I'm not gonna do it that way. So just get all your approvals, make sure the school committee's on board. I do have a policy now. We have a memorandum of agreement that allows the dogs in. They put that right on the MOU. Most SROs now have an MOU between the department and the schools. They actually attach it now. They're just like, there's another paragraph, like, and also the SRO is allowed to bring a comfort dog in. So I have that MOU, so I have a card up here with my email. I'll give you all our policies, both for the schools and the department. And so, and let's see, so we have an introduction of all the dogs, and actually, we can go with first Bobby McAvoy, who's not on the slideshow, but this is his dog Mikey right here at Bridgewater State, if you want to introduce.
Hi everyone, I'm Bobby McAvoy. I'm a detective sergeant here, and I am Canine Mikey's handler. I'm also probably the only one that didn't go through the DA's office to get our dog. So we got our dog from an organization called Puppies Behind Bars out of New York. So they breed and raise service dogs strictly for law enforcement and for disabled veterans. The nice thing about Puppies Behind Bars is when you get the dog, they're completely trained. They're usually around 2 years old. They have about 10,000 hours of training when you get them, because they're trained in prison by the inmates from the time they're 8 weeks old until the officer that's chosen goes to the prison and works with the inmates for 3 weeks, learning how to work with the dog. The dog is 100% free. They pay for all the overtime with the officer, they pay for all the lodging, and they pay for travel to get to New York. So getting the dog is free. All you would have to do is the vet and then food going forward and any continuing training. So aside from doing community events with Mikey, in detectives, what we use her for is interacting with victims of violent crime and sexual assault. So when I'm dealing with a sexual assault survivor, what we'll typically do before we start the interview, since it's a traumatic event they just went through, to try to calm them down, if they're comfortable, we have them hang out with Mikey and just play. And just, they're in my office hanging out, and when they're comfortable, then we move forward and start the interview. Mikey will stay in the interview, just hanging out on the couch in there, and then if the victim has to take a break and refocus, just hang out with Mikey and just do that and then move forward. That way it's kind of giving them a sense of comfort when they're telling, me, a stranger, probably the most traumatic thing that's ever happened to them in their life. So that's her primary focus, working in detectives, and then community events and outreach is kind of secondary for us, because our other dog, Zach, who is also from Puppies Behind Bars, he does a lot more community-oriented stuff than Mikey does. But any questions about puppies before we go to the next handler or Mikey? All right, thank you.
So yeah, we can just go through the slides. When your slide comes up, just jump in. But this is Abington's dog, Harlow. Officer Morgan couldn't be here today, but Harlow understands English and Spanish, a bilingual dog. So that's and then that's really make sure you. And actually, if you really want an insight to these dogs, make sure today you grab their social media handles, and especially Instagram. A lot of the dogs are on Instagram. You get to see what they do every day with the kids and in the community. That's the best way to tell the story. So just make sure you follow all these dogs. All right. So then Brockton just got I think there's Brockton School Police, correct?
Correct.
And this is Max, and then who was the officer?
Dan.
All right, so fun fact, Max has a sister at home named Mila. She's an Australian Labradoodle and learned how to give high fives. That's pretty good. And also a part of the peer support team. So
And Max is helping at Whitman, Hanson today.
Is Max over there today?
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's why they couldn't be here.
all right, so
Talitha Connor, East Bridgewater PD. This is Canine Morgan. Morgan came from Professional Canine Services in Middleborough with the help of the DA's office. We were awarded that grant. She comes with me every day to school. She's only 8 months old, so some days she doesn't make a full day. She takes a nap under my desk for a little while. But she goes to all 4 schools, and she's making all the kids happy. They all know her name. Most of them have forgotten mine, but they all remember Morgan. So she's great. She's doing an awesome job.
Good. All right. So then we have Lucy was supposed to be the guest host today. Lucy gonna make and then I know Kevin can talk about Golden Opportunity. They're an amazing organization. So fun fact. Some of these dogs have dual purpose, search and rescue. A lot of them are doing. So I know Lucy's training for that. So, all right. And then Chief, you want to introduce Laney?
Sure. So, my name is Chief Tim Kane from the Hanover Police Department. I am not Laney's handler. It might be tough to figure that out. So, yeah, our handler is actually on vacation, so I'm actually babysitting for the weekend. Really, my daughter's out, but I thought this was an important event, so I figured I'd give this a shot. I'm thinking probably right after this I'm out of here. But anyhow, I caught wind of the whole Comfort Dog program really from Hingham and Tom Ford, and Tom really helped us a lot with just kind of getting it started. I'm an animal lover myself, but I saw a real need for us to address some of the mental health issues that are going on in our own community. And we're kind of trying to think outside the box a little bit. So I researched it a little bit. I found out that the DA's office is giving out money. So I contacted Tim Cruz, who put me in touch with Barbara. And we might have been one of the first couple agencies that might have.
Third one.
We're number 3. Okay, so I had no problem asking for money. The worst they can say is no. But again, we really leaned heavily on Tom. So I guess my advice is if you're looking to start this up, don't try to reinvent the wheel. Just reach out to some of the agencies that have already get the ball rolling with this. They have a plethora of knowledge. And again, all I did was write the grant. So other than that, I handle Mike, and I know Mike keeps in contact with Tom quite frequently, as well as all the other handlers throughout the South Shore. But I can say this, I know that this dog has made a tremendous impact already. I mean, in such a short amount of time. She is highly sought after. I get calls and emails every single day asking for Laney to come here. I mean, not just at the schools, but private businesses. Everybody's asking for her. We do different contests around town where she provides escorts to school in the morning for some of these contest winners. So the community eats it up. We've had a couple tragedies, really, in the last couple months. We've only had her since we picked her up in February. So she is still going through her training. Actually, she's doing very well with it. It looks a lot better when she's with her handler, I promise. But it'll be continuous training with her. But one thing that I really liked is kind of the networking that's gone on with all of these handlers. We had a student from we had 2 high schools in town, South Shore Tech and Hanover High, who passed away. And these handlers all came together and they brought the dogs to school. Actually, we had Michelle there from South Shore Tech.
I work at the VOTEC, and I mean, I'm obsessed with Laney personally, but a lot of these dogs visited to support our students during the tragedy, and Laney pops up in on a regular basis, and I mean, the kids just melt. It's just, and we have a very interesting, unique population, and every student reacts well to Laney. She wanders around the cafeteria. A lot of times I'm like, oh, what are the administrators gonna say? She's off leash in the cafeteria, but it's just working so well, and we want more of her, and thank you for everyone who's
Yeah, for what you asked for.
Yeah.
So we have a very good working relationship with both superintendents at the regional school as well as Hanover High School, or Hanover schools, and they are all about having this dog around as much as possible. But we don't just take it to the schools, we bring it to the Council on Aging. We have a pretty substantial senior community in town. We have an assisted living facility that just opened up a few months back, so she spends a lot of time there. So she's getting to know pretty much everybody. She's kind of becoming a legend in her own way. But yeah, if there's anything anybody has, like in terms of questions how to help get this program started, feel free to reach out to myself, Hanover PD, or Officer Mike McKeever, or really any one of these handlers, I'm sure, but that's about it, that's her story. Yeah, I guess she likes chickens, that's what Mike said. He's got chickens, and she literally just sits outside the coop, so he has to peel her back. She doesn't try to attack him, but she just stares at him, so.
Dave, can I give you a little water?
Absolutely.
Yeah, come here, bud.
Let's go, come on.
Move. All right, so, thank you, Chief. And then, this is alphabetical order. So Aubrey, yeah, her story's kind of cool. She actually came from a kill shelter. And so, like I said, because we didn't know what this program was gonna be, so when I got that money, I held on to that money tight. And I wanted to make sure. Now, with all the community support out there and the awareness of this program, there's a lot more like donations being put out by organizations and companies, but at first, when this was out there, I really didn't know much about it, so I'm like, I'm gonna hold on to this money. So I tried to really stretch it out. I did it probably different than everyone else. I went through Paws New England. They donated a rescue dog. She actually Aubrey came from a kill shelter in Texas. And so we rescued her, which is a nice story that I tell the kids. Every kid that meets her, I say, thank you for saving our dog. We went through a private trainer, and it was kind of cheap, just like if you go through puppy classes, but the thing is, there's a lot of work on my end, so I do like the classes. She has every certification, every AKC certification you can imagine, but it's a lot of work. I go to all the classes on my own time initially, and then it's just hours of my own time, as all the handlers will tell you. Regardless of what program you do, you're going to be spending a lot of time training your dog in your own time. And then her biggest thing is social media. I tried an SRO Facebook page a few years ago. It failed miserably. No kid wants to follow the school resource officer. I'm telling you that right now. But Aubrey has 1,700 followers, and they're all the kids. And I sneak in little messages, and they don't even know it. And we do an Aubrey Award every month. And yeah, we do an Aubrey Award every month where we pick a kid in the school that best exemplifies inclusion and because that's what Aubrey does. She includes everyone, and that's kind of you see she's wearing a scarf today. She's a big advocate, the LGBTQ community in Hingham, in the schools. The transgender students, they love Aubrey. The kids have told me she represents safety and inclusion, and they feel welcome in her office, not my office. So it's been a great way to spread a message, bring people together. So the social media, that's our thing, and you'll find your thing. But that's probably I've already been getting my reel ready for this afternoon. So and then what we did, which is actually we're on the next level, is find people in town that love what you're doing, which every one of you will have people in town. We have our own charitable organization now, the Hingham Working Dog Foundation. They just raised enough money to buy me a cruiser, and then they raise money every month. They get a Chewy box delivered now with food in it, and they send to me, and it's like a private group, and it's all charitable. We do fundraisers. So that's the next level, and there are people in town. Give it a couple months, people will gravitate towards it, and they're going to want to help. And find my friend's an attorney, find an attorney in town that wants to write this up. And yeah, so you can check out the foundation. You can literally mirror what they're doing. They have a policy and everything to set up. Then fun fact, I didn't do it today. I didn't want to create chaos, but Aubrey knows how to ride a skateboard by herself. I let her go in the hallway, and she follows me. And she does all sorts of tricks. That's kind of her thing. And the Chief's having her lead the 4th of July parade this year. She's going to be hanging out in the back of the car with that hat on. She has a whole outfit. And that's it. And then we have FedEx.
I want to see what happens if I come up front. Oh, he was taking a snooze, so I was excited about that. But now he's going to come up here because all his girlfriends are up here. So this is FedEx. I hate that I have to follow Aubrey because it's she's just perfect, and then he's kind of a spaz. But like Canine Morgan, we got him from Professional Canine Services. Him and Morgan actually went through training together, so they think that they're friends. They are friends. They're awesome. But he's got a new girlfriend, Morgan. I'm sorry, he's in love with Aubrey. So he right now is trained in just comfort therapy dog. He starts his search and rescue school on Monday. So we'll be down there for a few weeks, getting that training going. We got our $5,000 from the DA's office, which was super awesome, and then the rest of the money actually came from asset forfeiture money. So, yeah, they're in love. So, the chief was like totally on board, because we talked so highly about what Hingham was doing. It was like, oh, Hingham's doing it, they're right next door, and their chief loves it, and Aubrey does such a great job, and the chief was like, okay, but I did definitely push the dog on him. I went down to look at the dog at Professional Canine Services. I walked in, I fell in love with the dog, and I was like, I want this dog. So I sent a picture of him to my chief. My chief said, you know, like, pump the brakes a little bit, like, slow down. We have to get you a car. We have to figure out. We have to write a policy. So I put the dog in my car and drove him to Hull, and just brought him in his office. I was like, you really gonna say no? He's like, fine, you can have the dog. So like, that was kind of how it happened. So I had the dog before we had the money, before I knew what I was gonna do, and I was like, did I just get another pet? Like, what just happened? I don't know what just happened. But one thing that I did before I even took on this program was I reached out to Tom. Tom was super helpful. Him and Kevin Harrington were both very helpful with me going through this process. And Tom said to me, this is gonna be life-changing. Do yourself a favor and come over here and spend the day with me and just see what this is. So I alone went over and spent the day with Tom and Aubrey, or a few hours anyway, and I was like, wow, this is like a huge undertaking. But to see the response that the students of Hingham High had to her, I was like, I have to do this. So my biggest advice would be to just reach out to the people that have been doing this now, because it's a difficult process and everybody did it a little bit different. But you can make it happen, and it's so beneficial to your schools. I'm actually not even an SRO anymore. I was prior to this, and now I'm just in patrol. So we have like a little bit of a different role. We visit the schools, we visit the elderly housing. We sometimes go to church. We do all the community events. But then I also work for special investigations, and I do all of our sexual assaults. So similar to what Mikey does, anytime I'm dealing with a victim or a child abuse case, I will have pedics in the room for them to, you know, just kind of calm them down. And especially when it comes to kids, he's awesome in like breaking that barrier with kids and with victims of crimes. When you're in an awkward situation, it's always a good barrier breaker. So I hope everybody does it. So any cop in this room that hasn't done it yet, get on board.
I guess we're out of time, but we're gonna keep going until we get the hook.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, so, and then,
Yeah, this is the newest dog. This is Nola. Yeah, she's sleeping. I'm from Whitman PD. We are a regional school district with Hanson. So Derek Harrington and Hanson has Lucy since, what, August? So he kind of got me hooked on this. I had my own personal German Shepherd at home, but I didn't think it was fair to bring a dog into the house with a German Shepherd. So unfortunately, she passed away in September, so here we are. That's my daughter Julia back there. So I got my dog and Derek's dog are through GOFI, which is Golden Opportunity for Independence. They're out of Walpole. And they breed the dogs. And then we go to training with the dogs. So we go. I'm actually going 4 days a week right now, 3 hours a day in the morning. I have a great chief and a deputy chief that allow me to leave, and they allow me, pay me overtime for doing stuff. It's a beneficial program. The only drawback is it's expensive through GOFI. It's about $20,000, but that includes the dog, the initial vet bills, they spay, neuter, and the training. It's 18 months worth of training. So it actually dwindles down as you go on. It goes to like 3 days and then 2 days. She is starting to be cross-trained in scent training for missing people, kids, elderly people, friendly fires, no criminals, none of that stuff. And just, we had a tragedy in Whitman on Wednesday night, Tuesday. Unfortunately, we had a student that took her life by jumping in front of a train. The dogs, myself and Derek were there Wednesday, just with our dogs, and unbelievable. If anybody ever had a doubt for the program, they should have been there. And yesterday we called, I think we used mostly GOFI dogs, so we have a text. We had 5 dogs there yesterday. Unbelievable. Derek said now, that's why I can be here. I'm heading back there with her, because they want puppies, of course. Actually, GOFI brought her brothers and sisters in yesterday. They came all the way from Walpole, brought her brothers and sisters in yesterday. Mustang Sally from Norwood, Maggie from Taunton. But if you ever had a question about whether it works or not, there's your answer. It worked. We have girls crying, they come down next to the puppy, they start laughing. So it's a great program. So if you ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or Derek over at Whitman, Hanson, or any of the handlers, or just, it's a great program, and I thank Barbara, and I also got a generous donation from T&K Asphalt. They gave me $5,000, which was great. So we actually went down and visited them the other day. It's a great program, so any of the chiefs that are thinking about it, I would definitely do it. But, it all depends on the funding, but you can always find money. Oh, and yes, and the fun fact about her is Lucy and her are actual sisters from a different litter, but they have the same parents. So it's great. It's a great thing. So.
All right, thank you. Chief, real quick, not to put you on the spot, but I did want to mention, because we've been doing this for a while now, what have you seen as an impact from our community with having this program?
Yeah, no, it's been huge. I mean, his initial commitment's pretty big with the training and everything else, getting the program up and going. Tom had some challenges with the school committee in town, unfortunately, initially, where they were against a police officer having a dog, but I mean, look at Aubrey, how could he be, but the school administration was always super supportive because Tom works with them every day in the schools. So he overcame a lot to get Aubrey. She's got her initial story of going from the kill shelter, then she's got getting through the school committee, which is even worse than that.
That was worse, yeah.
But she's made a huge impact. The school's obviously number one, but she goes around all the assisted living places, senior living. She's at all town events. She was at town meeting, greeting everyone when they came in every day. And people just light up when they see her. It makes a huge difference. The students, Tom will tell you, he's got some stories of kids that'll tell him that the only reason they come to school is because of Aubrey. So, I mean, if you're even thinking about it, it's a huge benefit to the town. You can't lose by having a comfort animal.
And we become closer friends, because now when someone asks you for a community event, you're calling me right away, so come on out.
Tom, come on.
Yeah, so they formed a pretty good bond with us, because we kind of like work hand in hand with community engagement and stuff, so it's been awesome. All right, so we don't have really any more time, but we're all available to you. I think some of you have your business cards, right? So make sure you grab mine up here. I have policies to give you, and like especially the chiefs, like we got tons of policies and different things. Make sure you have a vet that's willing to sign on with it, and they will. Find a local vet that will help you with the vet care. That's a lot. And yeah, the dogs, I think we kind of all told their story, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask.